What can trees teach us about building a resilient business? Hey, welcome to Intention Monday, which is a brand new series called Nature and Business. This is part one. And here we're talking about learning from trees on how to build a resilient business. Now, has he gone mad? Absolutely not. Let me tell you a little bit more about this series, which we're going to have so much fun with because I've always had this deep-rooted feeling that nature can teach us so much about life, about business, how we can thrive, and just all of the ways in which we can adapt. And trees are the first element for which I want to talk about. I have a special affinity to trees, and I feel it's because they're very grounding, and I have an amazing energy, high drive, and so I need to be grounded, and it's important for me. And so trees are a very grounding source for me, and they create a great balance. And balance, of course, is one of the key essential elements of martial arts, as is flexibility, as are all of the things that trees really do teach us. So the first point here is about deep roots. Now, where you see a tree, you may see the tree, it's a massive tree, maybe covers a large amount of space, huge trunk. What you're not seeing are the roots that are inside of the ground, inside of the earth. And the roots for us can go ahead and correlate back to foundation. See, the foundation of a coaching business, for example, is absolutely essential. It is mandatory. And one of the first things that we do inside the space of selling in alignment, especially in our Dojo Path program where we work with coaches to really create the infrastructure of their coaching business, is we really get them to look at the foundations of their coaching business. Now, what do I mean specifically by this? We're talking about the elements of the brand, the big things like the vision, the mission, what the bigger game that coaches and consultants are playing for in the world, the big change that they want to see in the world, what they want to contribute towards creating a positive change around. And what are the values of this business? Like, what are the foundational elements in terms of products and services that are going to be offered? Who's the customer they want to serve? Who would they love to uplift and work with and serve and get a massive transformation for? All of these types of things are really important elements of the business. And when we really get to get a shift around some of this, we get to look at things in a different way and we go deep into the foundations. And that's what trees really represent around their roots. Now, the roots are very powerful still. There's so much. We could do an entire Intention Monday just on roots. The roots that go into the ground are actually bringing in nutrients into the actual tree itself. It actually absorbs the nutrients from the ground, from the rain, from the soil, and it actually then feeds it into the tree and allows the tree to thrive. In the same way, are we working with people and holding people in our space that are allowing us to thrive, that are lifting us up, that are raising us? And so there's a lot to be said about the vibration of the people that we're associating with, because that's what we're soaking up through our roots. That's the nutrients that we're chewing up through the energy of who we're being and how we're showing up in the world. So we really want to have a look at this, and we really want to get to look at, how we can really powerfully combine all of these things together to formulate the right caliber of coaching business. Then trees really go ahead and teach us about seasons. Now, all of nature really teaches us about seasons. And nature is powerful in the space that it can really have a massive, massive shift for us in and around seasonality. Because there's not always a time, for example, to launch products. We can't launch the year round. There has to be some downtime. There has to be some regrouping, regathering, hibernating, if you like just going in deep and looking at the coaching business and its goals and who it's serving and the momentum that's been created inside of a particular space of time, and then go back out there in the world and then serve clients and then bring on a new batch, a new cohort of people. And there is going to be specific times, and you'll set up campaigns inside of your coaching business where you'll get to look at, okay, this quarter, the campaign that I'm playing for is I'm going to run some kind of an event that's going to host my target market. I'm going to bring them together. It's going to be some kind of a networking event. We'll host lunch and we'll allow them to collaborate. There'll be some speakers. we could have something like this. But that requires working up to, and that will fit into a particular season. Then there'll be a season maybe to launch a product or a service that you want to offer to your target market. Then maybe there's a season for review and looking at the financials and the branding, and is there something to do around rebranding the business? So the reason that I mentioned rebranding is something that Selling in Alignment is going through right now. And so there is a season for that. And so that season is now coming to an end. As we come into spring, Selling in Alignment is launching a brand new product through the master methodology. And that's an incredibly powerful method which helps coaches who have an existing coaching business, existing brand, existing set of revenues to really scale their impact to the next level by creating and selling high value, high end products and services. So that's the season now. And I've aligned that purposefully with spring. It's a really powerful space to be in. It's a really important element of everything that we do. And so that's another thing trees are really teaching us around seasonalities. You know, when I look out the window, I can see a beautiful tree with these gorgeous pink flowers, and it's come into spring, right? It's now the time for it to do that. And then, of course, as the seasons change, it will shed its leaves in full trust that the new will come in later on at the right time, which is incredible, isn't it? There's something about unconditional giving inside of that as well, which trees are just synonymous for. They're also growing towards the sunlight. Trees are always growing towards the sunlight. And again, what can we take from that? We can really look at the importance of new opportunities that are coming up, like shifts in the industry and climate. So one of the big things that is out and recent now is the introduction of artificial intelligence. Like that is becoming more and more mainstream. And how is your coaching business now adapting or utilizing these new tools that we have available? So that's where the sun is shining to at the moment, and that's where this tree is going to grow towards, and your coaching business can replicate that. And there's a lot of opportunity inside of a space like that. So really, are we looking at where the sunlight is, where the new opportunities are, and growing our coaching businesses towards that? Something else that we see as well is trees have massive amounts of resilience. And it doesn't take rocket scientists to combine how those things can work together for our business as well. Being business requires resilience. If you're already a coach, you've been going for a few years, you're getting some ups and downs, maybe you're doing it as a part-time thing and you really want to grow your coaching business, one of the things you're going to see straight away is that you need resilience to make a business really thrive. And so what we can look at from trees is the adaptability they have through a storm. Right? It's not always going to be plain sailing in a business. There are going to be choppy waters. There are going to be storms. And again, look at the resilience that trees have in storms. They're able to bend and move and adapt inside of that space. They have flexibility. Again, an amazing attribute of martial arts as well, introduced into nature and introduced into business as well. Beautiful crossovers from all of these things. So we really got to look at how can we be flexible? How can we adapt to the changing climate? How can we adapt to our customers' needs? Are we thinking just as coaches, or are we thinking as business owners and thinking how we can provide a completely comprehensive service? And that's the caliber of thinking that's required, especially for what I do and how I serve coaches and consultants, which is to get them to look at, hey, I want to serve the client in a massive way. And I want to give them a total end-to-end solution so that I'm the place to be. And the way to do that is by creating a high-value, high-end product or service. And charging the premium price point for that, because it's a complete end-to-end solution, you're going to change someone's life with that and work with less clients and go deeper. So that's really the power inside of what trees can offer us in terms of really resilience and in storms. And the final thing I want to talk about is really ecosystems and collaboration. Trees are collaborating consistently collaborating. In fact, I saw a documentary that talked about the fact that when one tree is suffering or it's dying or it's not doing so well, the other trees will pass nutrients through the soil to this suffering tree's roots and help it to come back to life, help it to thrive again in nature. And trees not only of the same species, but even trees of different species will be able to detect that. And look at how Mother Nature is so nurturing in this way. Look at the beauty of what we can really draw from that for ourselves. Can we be that nurturing energy and force for each other? Can we create community that really looks after each other in that way and has everyone feel like they're thriving in the way that they want to thrive? Something incredibly powerful here to look at. And this is what I love about this whole series where we're talking about the idea of nature and business. And today we've spoken about how we can learn from trees to build a resilient business. So until next time, keep selling in alignment.